Picture this. You're a hardworking farmer in the heart of America, busting your back all season to grow those golden soybeans, dreaming of a decent payday to keep the family farm alive. But bam! Overnight, prices crash 15-20%, your silos are overflowing with stuff nobody wants, and bankruptcies are exploding by 55%. Why? Because your own president just funneled $20 billion of your tax dollars to Argentina, letting them slash taxes and flood the market with cheap beans that China's gobbling up like candy. It's not just bad luck, it's a straight-up betrayal that's got farmers raging on X and the White House in damage control. The kicker? This was supposed to be America first, fighting China, but we're the ones getting punched in the gut. So buckle up, because in this video, we're unpacking the leaked bombshell text that blew this wide open, how US farmers are getting crushed, who's pocketing the real wins, and why this geopolitical blunder could hit your grocery bill next. Alright, let's rewind a bit to set the stage, because this didn't just pop out of nowhere. Back in 2018, under Trump's first term, the US-China trade war kicked off with tariffs flying left and right. China slapped a 25% tariff on US soybeans in retaliation, basically slamming the door on what was once a $12-13 billion annual market for American farmers. Pre-war, we were shipping 12-13 million tons a year to China for things like animal feed. Now, zilch, nada, zero. Farmers got hit hard, prices dropped, and the government had to step in with bailout checks funded by those very tariffs. Fast forward to 2025, Trump's back, and Argentina's in a massive economic hole. Hyperinflation, debt crises, you name it. Under the previous socialist government, they leaned on China for $18 to $20 billion in currency swaps to stay afloat. But new President Javier Milei, he's all in on the West, pulling out of BRICS, aligning with the US and Israel. So on September 23rd, 24th, Trump meets Milei, and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announces this $20 billion currency swap line. It's framed as stabilizing a key ally to counter China's influence in South America. Sounds strategic, right? But here's where it gets dicey. Just a day before, on September 22nd, Argentina suspends its export taxes on soybeans up to 33% before to boost cash flow. Boom, their beans get cheaper on the global market. And who swoops in? Chinese buyers, booking 10-20 cargoes. That's 600,000 to 1.2 million tons headed for November delivery. Global prices tank. Chicago futures down 5-10% in days. U.S. farmers, already locked out by tariffs, watch helplessly as their domestic prices plummet too. To visualize the outrage, check this X-post. Breaking news. Leaked pic of Treasury Secretary's phone shows a panic text from the Ag Secretary. She's worried that China has outsmarted Trump by buying up Argentine soybeans at the expense of U.S. farmers. Trump plans to bail out Argentina with billions. Yeah, that sums up the absurdity. It's like funding your rival's date with your ex. Things were simmering, but then on September 29th, during the UN General Assembly, a photographer snaps Treasury Secretary Bessent reading a text from Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins. The leak goes viral, thanks to posts like this one. Leaked pic, panicked text from the Ag Secretary. She's worried that China has outsmarted Trump, buying up Argentine soybeans at the expense of U.S. farmers. Rollins is panicking. The swap gave Argentina the confidence to drop those taxes, flooding the market with cheap soy that China snaps up. U.S. farmers, they're staring at a 15 to 20% price drop since May, per Reuters, and a 55% surge in bankruptcies, according to USDA-linked analyses. The American Soybean Association is screaming for action, calling it overwhelming frustration. Echo that with this tweet. Farm aid is an incredible cause, but can we at least recognize how many farmers voted for the very man who decimated their livelihoods? Trump's trade war has crushed farms. Soybean exports to China dropped 75%. And it's not just farms. Ripple effects hit rural housing markets in places like Des Moines, with prices slumping and storage costs piling up for unsold crops. As this post puts it, But Trump has no problem giving his dictator buddy in Argentina billions of dollars in a bailout, while Argentina turns around and undercuts the American farmers by selling soybeans to China cheaper than the US. Farmers are going broke. Farmers feel straight up betrayed, especially since many are Trump supporters in red states. So, what's the real deal here? It's not just bad luck. It's a perfect storm of geopolitics, economics, and maybe some insider shenanigans. The trigger? That swap line acted like a green light for Argentina's tax cut. But dig deeper, and there are at least 6 big factors at play. Trade war hangover. Trump's tariffs are still biting. As this post notes, tenemos un verdadero desastre. Pasamos de vender 12,000 millones a cero. Por primera vez en 20 años, China no compra soya de nuestra nueva cosecha. We have a real disaster, from selling $12 billion to zero. For the first time in 20 years, China doesn't buy our new soy crop. China needs 100 million tons a year. We're shut out, so Argentina fills the void. Geopolitical irony. The swap was to wean Argentina off China, but it backfired. Now China is getting cheap imports, strengthening their hand amid their own slowdowns. This post nails it. Trump now wants to bail out the farmers who are going to sell fewer soybeans to China. Even without the tariffs, their trading power is permanently damaged because they've already moved their production to Argentina. Insider ties and profiteering. Here's the scary part: potential cronyism. Besson's old hedge fund buddy, billionaire Rob Satron, holds big Argentine bonds that skyrocket with this stability. Critics say it's elites getting rich while farmers suffer. This post speculates, especially since Argentina's soybean farmers are popping the corks. Trump to U.S. soybean farmers, hurry up and declare bankruptcy so we can scoop up your land on the cheap. Poor government OpSec and internal drama. The leak itself, sloppy. Besant reading it publicly at the UN. Economic realities. Real interest rates in Argentina are sky high, but global supply gluts keep prices low. Plus, loose fiscal policies there pump more demand, stoking the fire. This post sums it up, and the cherry on top is Trump giving Argentina a $20 billion bailout when that's who China's buying soybeans from at a lower cost. Soybean farming is basically finished here. And the big one, psychology and expectations. Farmers and investors don't trust it'll end soon. As this post shared, this soybean farmer who says American soybean farmers are suffering due to tariffs. Sales with China have dropped 75% because Brazil is now 20% cheaper without tariffs. It's a 5-alarm fire for our industry, he says. Look, this bailout, or swap, whatever you call it, might stabilize Argentina short term, but for the US, it's a lose-lose. Farmers are demanding bailouts, which means more taxpayer cash down the drain. China laps all the way to the bank with cheaper food, gaining leverage. And if tariffs don't budge, analysts say US soy exports could drop another 20%. As this post ranted, MAGA farmers still sticking with your scam artist? Trump's 20B bailout for Argentina helps China buy cheap Argentine soybeans, while U.S. farmers, blocked by tariffs, drown in unsold crops. Trump's team needs to rethink this fast, negotiate with China, support farmers directly, or risk alienating the very base that put him there. But with expectations this low, it might be too little too late. High drama like this is why geopolitics feels like a bad soap opera. But the stakes? Real jobs, real farms, real pain. Thanks for watching ICYMI. If you missed this wild story, now you're caught up. Drop a like if it hit home, comment your thoughts below, and subscribe for more. See you next time.